We all have a friend that's good at everything they do. They're athletic, they're intelligent, for some reason they cook really well, and of course, they just get the RNG to be 6 feet tall and handsome. They're probably volunteering at the homeless shelter as we speak. And these people are interesting because it's unnatural to be good at a lot of things. Generally, somebody will spend a decent amount of time on a few things and become better than most, or at least the average person, right? Somebody that plays chess 30 minutes a day for a year is going to be better than 99% of people who have never touched a piece in their life. But the anomalies happen. It seems they are just good at everything. And I feel like this is Abrams in Deadlock, a game where heroes have different roles and generally don't perform multiple, especially not excel in multiple. Hayes, for example, has great raw damage coming from her gun, but lacks mobility and health, while Mo and Krill has one of the highest HP pools, but you're never going to see them at highest damage on the scoreboard at the end of the game. There is always a give and take, but right now Abrams is mostly taking and not giving up anything. Now there's going to be a main issue that we talk about regarding Abrams, but let's begin by talking about what he can do. Insane survivability. First of all, he has an above average health pool. Without any green items, he just straight up has a very solid HP per boon, meaning every time he levels up, he gets a sizable HP increase. Second, he has an ability that regenerates a percentage of damage taken. Not an overpowered ability by any means, but definitely contributes to being a tank. Third, another ability that heals him and does damage. And lastly, 2 movement abilities, his charge and ultimate. While his charge is undeniably the best ability of his, the ultimate is kind of a get out of jail free card, which comes in clutch sometimes. And the charge is generally good to move around quickly or run away. Like if you have any brain cells and realize you're in a bad position, you will use your charge to escape and not use defensively and die. Okay, so great survivability, what else? One of the best heroes in the game for mid contest. The combination of his ult and charge makes him insane. I just looked at the roster and he's probably top 5 or 6. You definitely want him dead before attempting mid boss. He also has one of the best CCs in the game. I liken his charge to a bebop hook because you can seriously displace an enemy into certain death. I'd argue bebop's hook has more potential, but shoulder charge is going to be more consistently providing value. So a very strong ability that also just combos into his kits amazingly. The next thing is that he can serve as a generalist, which I briefly mentioned at the beginning of the video. I mean, Abrams can literally play so many styles. He isn't the best side laner, but he can definitely do it. Most obvious is playing as a frontliner that absorbs damage and makes space for carries or whatnot. He can also be useful with tons of souls, but if he has a farm heavy team, he can easily remain a pivotal hero with few. He's decent in lane and an incredible ganker after, and he can dominate early game and snowball wins. He is definitely a tempo hero if he wants to be. Generally, he does most things and he does them well. At the end of the day, all of this makes him a strong hero, but the thing tipping the scales into the broken category is all of what I said in combination with his gun. Yes, Abrams has a very powerful gun and he doesn't need it. Add M1 carrier to the list of things Abrams can do. I'm joking, but I'm also not. Part of why I said he can side lane is because kinetic dash on Abrams is just a joke. You can take out walkers way too quickly. The problem with the Abrams gun is it does too much damage and it does too much damage at range. The fall off needs to be reduced. It's one thing when you get demolished at close range from a shotgun, but when he's like 20 meters away, it's just plain silly. I think a 5 to 6 meter reduction would be appropriate and a good first step. The next step is to reduce his base damage. I don't know numbers off the top of my head, but if I had to throw a number out there, it'd be maybe 10 to 15%. Now this whole gun issue is also compounded by the fact that gun is sorta in right now. Right? We just had a very big patch about a month ago, drastically buffing gun, and so Abrams just kind of snuck in there and sort of got away with it. I sense a nerf soon. And for this upcoming balance patch, I want to see Abrams become more of a melee focused hero. That's way cooler and a more fun playstyle to me. You know melee Abrams is dead when the meta is to literally charge and do a light melee because it's more damage to shoot instead of the heavy melee. But the problem is melee Abrams won't be a playstyle because 1, why would you buy melee items when his gun is busted? And 2, the melee items aren't that strong for him. Is that a hot take? Let's quickly look at the melee items. First off, melee lifesteal, an 800 soul item that gives 12% melee damage and a 100 heal on hit. By no means a bad item, however, not in any of the best Abrams builds, and by that I mean people like Listic, Together, or Crayon. If you bought this item, I think it'd be completely okay and nobody on your team would be like, oh, you're throwing. Next up, Spirit Strike, another 800 soul item that does a bit of spirit damage and lower spirit resistance by 6%. Once again, not bad and goes well into Abrams' kit. Definitely usable, especially against spirit duelist comps, However, not used in any top Abrams builds. The next item I genuinely think is just bad for Abrams.
Yeah, melee charge really is not that good at all.
Melee Charge is a 1600 soul item, gives 50% melee distance, 10% melee damage, 6% bullet resist, and a passive of plus 25% heavy melee damage. Unironically, I think the best part of this item is the extra melee distance for the movement ability it gives. Movement is not only super fun in Deadlock, but very valuable. 10% melee damage is less than the 800 soul melee lifesteal, and the passive gives 25% damage of an already low number, right? Early off, you aren't doing massive amounts of melee damage, so something like a flat increase would be better, like 120 extra damage for example. This item is also bought in 0 top Abrams builds. Next up is Spirit Snatch, which essentially steals spirit power, spirit resistance, and does a bit of damage. It also gives plus 7% melee damage and 75 bonus health. I'd say this is also strong in certain comps, like I said about Spirit Strike. This item did get nerfed somewhat recently, so I think it's balanced, but it just goes back to show that gun is still in the spotlight. Also not in top Abrams builds. Up next, Life Strike, which is the melee lifesteal upgrade and gives better healing, 125 bonus health, a bit more melee damage, and applies a pretty good slow for 2.5 seconds. While I don't think this item is bad, I think it could be overkill on a hero with already good survivability. Generally, more damage output will be better, and this item is situational. Once again, I think you're getting the pattern, not in any top Abrams builds. And last, and in my opinion also least, is Crushing Fists. This item is dumpster juice on Abrams if you ask me. It gives a bit more bullet resist, melee damage, melee range, and a passive that reloads ammo and applies a stacking bullet resist debuff that leads to a tiny stun that pretty much never happens. I rarely get 6 melees off on one person in a fight. I think there are so many better ways to spend 6.4k on Abrams, and overall this item needs to be buffed. Obviously not in any top Abrams builds. So yeah, unfortunately melee isn't really meta right now, and that leads to a more boring playstyle for Abrams if you ask me. You can definitely get away with buying these melee items since Abrams is such a strong hero, but if you're sweating and trying to rank up, I'd say it's not your best option. So to sum it up, Abrams' gun needs a nerf, and in my humble opinion, a slight increase to melee damage. I think that'd be cool to see. So yeah, that's my primary issue with Abrams. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.